30 was really old. My mum was diagnosed with cancer. It made me take love seriously. I haven't made her proud yet and I've run out of time. But my Abby isn't settled yet. I don't want to cry on this video. Like, I feel like I don't want to be like that person. But this is, I promise you, a good story. Really positive story. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to take this one a little bit more personal and talk a bit about my history. Bear with me, there is a point to it. The reason why I want to talk to you about this today is because I have a lot of clients at the moment coming to me feeling very low and lost and kind of at that like rock bottom point. And rock bottom's not fun, no one wants to be there, but I do firmly believe that we have the power to use whatever it is that's happened to propel ourselves forward into a happier future. So from quite a young age, I wanted to be an actress, and I spent years and years training in dance, musical theatre and acting. I moved from Cheshire to London and lived in a hostel with my best friend. We had a fantastic time. We were really like pursuing our dreams, really truly believed that we would both become really successful performers. Neither of us are, actually she kind of is a performer. She's quite big on the old YouTube actually. We thought that we would become like really successful, and I genuinely believed that I was very talented at acting and that if I just worked really hard, put myself out there enough, that eventually I'd get this big break. Didn't happen. I managed to get like 3 different agents over the course of about a 10-year period, and yet I never got into the room with anyone of particular note. I never had that moment where you get that lucky call, which my mum was always very like, you can do it, Abby, you've got this. Like, she would give me examples of like people who'd achieved like their acting success at an older age. And yeah, it's just like the older I got, like the harder it became. But it wasn't just that. I genuinely started to think like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And I found it like very stressful to realize that the thing that I dreamt of being and becoming was something that I didn't even want anymore. Like, that was worse than failing, because when I was failing, I was still like trying. But then when I was like, I don't even want it anymore, I was a bit like, what am I going to be if I'm not going to be an actor? Like, my whole identity was like, Abby the actress, Abby's, you know, in London doing her thing, and la 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 la. And then like, it was like, I was like, oh, I don't really want to do it anymore. And I feel like it wasn't rock bottom for me, but it was like years of stress and sort of like hitting a certain age where I just hadn't achieved what I thought I'd achieve. I thought that by the age of, it makes me emotional now, but I thought that by the age of 30, it was always like 30 was really old. I'm 34 by the way. By the age of 30, I thought that I would have a mortgage, I'd have a husband, I'd have 1 or 2 children, I would have my career all set. Like, by the age of 30, I'd be a real adult and everything would be sorted and I'd have my, you know, everything would be fine, everything would be perfect. Didn't happen. What happened instead was, didn't really want to be an actor anymore. I was like trying a little bit more for my mum and my family than I think myself. And then my mum was diagnosed with cancer, and I was like, great, my favourite person on the absolute planet might die. And everything kind of just like, that was probably rock bottom, where I was like, my mum, not the illness part, like I feel like at the start there was quite a lot of hope there, and I was like trying really, really hard to like get second opinions from my mom. Transpired that her cancer didn't respond in any way to her treatment, and then the doctors were saying, you know, it's gone from like stage 1B to stage 4, and you know, we don't know how long you've got, maybe 6 months, it could, and you know, like they couldn't like put a time frame on it, but it was like ultimately we were faced with, you know, my mum's mortality, and I was faced with the fear of, I haven't made her proud yet and I've run out of time. I don't want to cry on this video. Like, I feel like I don't want to be like that person that's like, I don't want to cry on this video, but it's quite difficult to talk about it because I don't talk about it. So I was concerned that like I hadn't made my mum proud yet, and I'd kind of like missed the boat to like get married, her to see me get married, to have children. Like it was a fact. Like it wasn't even like, I'm not being dramatic, like that's a fact that I have actually come to terms with. But one of the hardest things was that my mum said to the neighbour, and I remember this conversation with the neighbour, and I don't even know why the neighbour told me, because I was like, why has she told me that? Like, I don't want to know that. Was that my mum had gone over to speak to the neighbour and was obviously quite upset, and she'd said, but my Abby isn't settled yet. And I was just like, when I was told that, I was like, God, I didn't even know that my mum was bothered about that. Like, I knew my mum worried about me. She was my mum, like she was meant to worry. But I'd just been like going about like trying to be an actress and trying to like do something with my life, and I hadn't really bothered about guys or anything like that. To be fair, I had met my boyfriend at this point, but I just hadn't like been taking anything that seriously, and it just like completely, it's like everything that you ever thought the future would be can't be anymore. Like we all have like ideas, don't we, that really are just ideas about like how our life will be, and then these things come along and just muck up the plan a little bit. But this is, I promise you, a good story. Really positive story. During the time where my acting career I decided I didn't want, and my mum got sick and then died, but during that time I was like trying to do all these different things, but I was also like looking for, what do I want to do with my life? Like, what can I do to make my life like meaningful? And I was watching First Dates with my boyfriend, who my mum hadn't met yet, by the way, because, you know, she was too busy worrying that I hadn't settled. We were watching First Dates, and he said to me, oh, isn't it really cool like how they match the people on first dates? And I was like, yeah. And I'd gone through this like zone of like trying different jobs out. I did like a work experience as a veterinary nurse for a bit. Like I'd thought about becoming a police officer. I could never do like a 9-to-5 job, like anything that's like boxes you in too much. But I just like, I've been trying like different things and had like different ideas. And then we were watching First Dates, and he's like, that's a really cool job, isn't it? And I was like, oh my God, it's a job. Is it a job? I was like, is it a job to help people find love? Is it possible that I can like make other people be happy? Like, is this the thing? Is there something that I can do that's like really going to be fulfilling for me? And it turns out there was something, and it was matchmaking. So I literally, like, when I was trying to be an actor, everything was like, every door was like shut. Like it was like so difficult. And all I did was I approached 2 people, and one of them got back to me. Like it was so simple. And that was Kate Ray at Little Black Book. And I've been working with her ever since. Like it's that straightforward. And whilst I was working with her, I was like, oh, I feel like I was obviously learning more about love, more about dating. I did a coaching course with the Matchmaking Institute. And I was just like, I just feel like when people don't succeed with love, it's to do with like something that's going on with them. And a lot of the time when matchmaking fails, I think it's because the person that we're working with is doing something that can be changed. So it inspired me to go down the coaching route. So now at this point in time, I'm in a 5-year relationship. I've got my 2 fur children, not actual children. I'm not sure if I want children, and I'm living in zone 1, and I'm so happy and grateful. And when I reflect back on the bad things that have happened and the situation like with my mom, I don't have regrets. And it's because I was only ever being the best that I could be and being as truthful and authentic to myself in the given moment. I didn't meet the right person until I was 29. I wasn't mentally in the right headspace to meet someone until I was at that age. Going through my mum dying with the boyfriend that I have now, he was there for the whole thing, showed to me like what I value in love as well. So it was like, if I hadn't met him at that point in time, he wouldn't have been the boyfriend that was there when my mum died, and I wouldn't have got to see like how like truly fantastic he is. Like I probably would have just like done what I did with all the other guys and just let them go, or just date an idiot. I know he has my back. I'm so secure and so grateful for the relationship that I'm in. It made me take love seriously. It made me take my career more seriously. So whilst I can't say, oh, that was a positive thing that I went through, it's something that like has helped me to grow. But also with like the acting, like I needed to fall out of love with acting and to get into a state of crisis and panic for me to be switched on to the notion of a different career. So what I think I'm trying to say is that I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't appreciate the relationship that I'm in and everything that we've been through if we hadn't been through the level of stuff that we've been through together. I honestly have no regrets whatsoever. I would love it if my mum were to be there when I have children, but I accept that I wasn't ready to have children. If I'd had children earlier just to make my mum happy, I probably wouldn't be happy, and I probably wouldn't be the best kind of mum. So it's good that I waited. So if you're sat there and you feel like at your absolute rock bottom low, have a think about how you can use this adversity to propel you forward. Like, what can you do to get around these obstacles? And trust that if you are doing your very best, that better times will be in front of you. There will be a time where you are happier. You have to like ride through it and reflect on what the lesson is and where the lesson is coming from. There's a lining to literally the worst cloud, like there really is. When you've gone from rock bottom, got through it, and you're on the other side, it's then that you can look back and go, oh my goodness, I'm a different person now, I'm a better person now, and these are the things that I have learned. I just want you to ride through that pain and to see where it takes you, and to be open to the idea that there is a lesson to be had, that there is a positive that can come from that negative. Because I have yet myself to experience something extremely negative and not be able to put a positive spin on it, to not see that it's changed the route, but it's not necessarily changed it into a horrendous route. That we're gonna have to go through pain because bad things will happen to all of us, but it's not that the bad thing happens, it's like how you're perceiving it and how you're using it as a catalyst to a better future. Hands on heart, I am really happy with the life that I'm living at the moment, and whilst I would love to like certain things to have not happened, I can see the silver lining around the cloud. And I really urge that whatever you're going through, that you search for that silver lining. So thanks for watching today. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at Abby Blears. I also offer one-on-one dating coaching. So if you're interested in knowing how you can get from where you are right now into a healthy relationship, just head on over to my website and book yourself in for a 20-minute complimentary consultation. Take care. Bye-bye.